Okay, hello everybody. I'm back again. I'm going to try to keep this video short, but it'll probably come out a little bit long. I don't know. The title of this video is Tone Hell. This is what I've been going through for almost a month, driving me totally crazy. So I have this Garnet Stencil amp under the name of MANN, M-A-N-N, that I absolutely love. And I've been running a Greenback 12-inch, 25-watt speaker and a vintage Celestian, something called the GS, and it's 16 ohms, and the Greenback is 8 ohms. And I'd been covering the 16 ohms up with a blanket because it has no tonal value at all. In fact, I tried playing it by itself before I did all this stuff, and it was just flat and really bright and incredibly boring sounding. So I ordered a Celestian H 55 hertz 12-inch speaker because I listened to some samples on YouTube, and it's more of a kind of a vintage rock and roll sound, and I liked it. And so I bought it as an 8 ohm. So I had the 8 ohm Greenback and the H 55 hertz. And oh my God, suddenly the MANN was sounding really incredibly bright. And I pondered it, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? And it turns out, this is my opinion, that the 16 ohm was dragging down some of the treble on the Greenback. I don't know why, but then, I was looking around on Facebook and discussions of mismatching impedances, and that it made things sound really nice. It's like smoothed out the highest treble. And I went, oh my God, I want 2 speakers, and I need to figure out why everything is sounding so bright. So let's see, where am I? So I was messing around and, racking my brain, or what's going on, and then one night I noticed that everything sounded really dark, and I looked down, and I had like 4 power strips all chained together, and I'm thinking, maybe there's something going on with that. So I removed them all, and I just replaced it with 1 power strip. And suddenly everything is sounding really bright and a lot better. So I went, maybe this is what they talk about, power conditioning, when the guys that set up the concerts, and the amps and all that kind of stuff. So that was a wake-up call. So it was still really bright, and I was talking to my amp friend who fixes my amps when they go south, and so I was talking to my amp tech guy that fixes all my amps when I mess them up or something, or they do something like, well, the other thing was that the guys that were saying mismatch impedances between two speakers makes them sound really good. Well, it also stresses out your output transformer. And one of the, I have two of these MANNs, and one of them did have the output transformer die. So I'm thinking I better not keep doing this with a 16 ohm speaker. So I bought the H 55 hertz, and sounds really great. So anyway, talking to my friend, he's going, well, you know, these Garnets have really strange tone stacks. In fact, they don't even have a tone stack. They have various capacitors in there, and they're all active. So you can't go in there and just replace, you know, like a 0.022 with a 0.045 capacitor, you know, like a paper and oil or something like that that I thought I was going to do. So you have no control over that, and the tone knobs, you have to turn the treble tone like way down before you know, you lose some of that high end, you know, that was bothering me all this time. And the reason for that is these all have solid state rectifiers. So it's like a little bit of digital kind of high-end, you know, breaking glass stuff that I cannot stand. So first thing I did was I started changing tubes. I got a tungsol and electro-harmonics, and tried those two, and it did warm up a little bit. There was still this high treble edge. It was still bothering me a lot. So, and the next thing I did, I thought I would buy some new guitar cables, because I know guitar cables can go bad and they can sound harsh, and they all vary, you know, how much trouble they have anyway. And so I bought three or four cables. My favorite ones are the GHS cables. So I replaced my GHS cables with this black and white one, and the same other like tweed looking one, and that helped a little bit. So I decided to try this other one. It was like pretty cheap, and I prefer 20-foot guitar cables because it's a little bit of a treble clip, just enough to make things sound really nice. So then I bought this one. Yep, there it is. It sounds pretty good. And all of these are, gotta get my notes. All of these are oxygen-free copper. So they were okay, but there's still something bothering me. So I bought these because I heard, what's his name? Junior Watson in a video saying, hey, you guys got to buy these cables. These things are just amazing. And, you know, and they have these cable ends you can identify them by. And what the hell was it? They're from South Creek Audio, and the 20-footer was $11. If you can believe that, $11 for a 20-foot cable, and it beat all of the others. It just had a really balanced, you know, thing where the treble isn't sticking out like a sore thumb. Blah, blah. Cut me some slack. I'm old, okay? So that helped a lot. And then, where did we go from here? So the next thing, I started looking at room temperature and humidity. And oh my God, it had a lot more effect than I thought it would. When the humidity gets down like 28%, the speakers have that high-end treble. I have to turn the treble down, and I have to turn the treble down on the MANN down to just a quarter up. Otherwise, it just gets too much. So I watched the room temperature and the humidity over a week and noticed how much effect that had, and started thinking, geez, maybe I need to get a small humidifier in here, because the humidity in here is always pretty low from the furnace, and then in the summer, the air conditioning. So that was something to pay attention to. And, you know, it's not some kind of magical thing either. Recording studios, they control the humidity and the temperature in their studios. So the next thing I started thinking about was, I watched this studio musician. Let me get that. I watched this studio musician as I was trying to find out about this pedal I have that I bought in the 80s or something. And, oops, backwards. There we go. I don't think I ever tried it out. I think I bought it because it was like dirt cheap at some swap meet. And I plugged it in, and I dropped, what was it? I dropped the 2K slider down, and that high-end annoying treble frequency kind of went away. And I went, wow, this is usable. Maybe this is what I should be doing. You know, when I'm recording my guitar and amp and stuff, I don't in the software, I don't use EQ at all. Though sometimes I'll drop the 10 kilohertz, and a little bit lower than that, because for noise factor. So then I went and bought a 7-band MXR EQ pedal, and that was interesting. But there was something that seemed a little bit digital about it, even though it's supposed to be analog. And I kind of didn't like it, but I'm going to keep it anyway, you know, I don't know, because I'm stupid, because I like to keep a lot of gear. Anyway, next, I started thinking, you know, I have a Variac, and I know it's a vintage one, and started thinking about maybe I should try this on my amps, because the MANNs are supposed to be running on 117 volts, and it's it's 124 volts in the wall here. So I plugged it in, I plugged the amp into it, and then suddenly the very highest treble didn't have any kind of harshness to it. And I was like, what's this? And then I have a Chinese one that I had been doing the same thing, but the high harsh treble was there. The Chinese Variac wasn't doing anything except dropping the power a bit. But the Variac, it was having some kind of tonal thing going on. And I went, that's interesting. I wonder if I bought a pre-1969 Variac, if it would be doing even that more, if it was going to do more of it. And I bought one, and they're not grounded, so they're a little scary, but I figured out how to ground it. So, and that one, it didn't cut as much a little treble as the one that was after 1969, when in 69 is when they made sure everything was grounded with three prongs. So I'm going, what's that about? And then I noticed the post-69 Variac has a lot thicker power cable. And I've had weird things going on with different power cables and sound of tube amplifiers. So my last theory is this thing has a lot of copper in this long power cord. And maybe that, plus dropping the amp down to 117 volts, is finally giving me back what the 16 ohm speaker dragging everything down was doing. So there you go. Take it, put it in your hat, and see what you think, and try some things on your own. And this stuff's for real, and I'm like fanatic about listening to my amps every day. And I just changed some preamp tubes in the MANN #1 and warmed it up a little bit by using electro-harmonics in V2, which is the main channel. I was like, well, nice. So, you got to look at everything, and this whole process was just, I was losing sleep and everything, and I pretty much got it nailed now. But you guys ought to go buy those power cord, the guitar cables from what was the name of that thing? I'm real prepared here. South Creek Audio. I'll put a link to it down in below the video here. Grab a couple of those. I don't understand why they're selling them so cheap. They're like $10 and $12 for a 20-footer. I mean, that's unheard of. kind of afraid of telling you about them because all you guys will go buy them all up and I won't be able to get any more. But I bought an extra one, so anyway, that's all for now, and I'm gonna let you hear the PAFX set a little bit here after I get off screen, and it's the sounds I'm getting now, and just having a lot of fun with this. I think this is probably the best set besides the vintage magnet wire ones. Those beat everything, but the PAFX set just can't tell you what I'm doing with it, but it's different, and it's the one I play every day and blow out the walls. My neighbors are like, "Hey, you sound pretty good." Okay, all for now. Here's some noodling on the PAFX set for you to listen to. Adios.